Hello everybody, my name is Tyler and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while, but I think it's best if I just get back into the routine slowly. So haven't been really consistent with content. So number one, we're gonna start off with working on some podcast episodes. If you're new here, then I have a podcast called WTQ, What the Question, and I haven't done much posting on that lately, so this will be the first of many episodes. I am planning to work. This current project we're going to be diving into will be ongoing for the next couple weeks. So be excited as we hunker down on some questions and get this podcast going, because the number one focus on this podcast is for communication and just getting to know me, getting to know you. And if you have any questions or comments regarding what I answer, it's going to be in the comments down below, and I'll answer it to the best of my abilities. So today, in this series of episodes, we're going to go through the questions for the 16 personality quiz. So essentially, you take this test for the nearest type. You take this test for the 16 personality types. I feel like I did this quiz when it was first announced like years ago, but I don't think I quite remember. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna deep dive into these questions. We're gonna take our time talking about it because I feel like you deserve that. And with these shorter videos, you can definitely see what's your favorite. This is so that for me, I can take my time to talk to you guys without making it go past 20 odd minutes of just talking. So let's go through the first question of this quiz. You make Do you agree if you make friends regularly? I To be fair, I don't think I do as much. Nowadays I don't make friends as frequently. Not because I don't like people. When I'm in social get-togethers, I would love to connect with people when I'm at PAX. I do my best to connect with people in line. I do my best to like do things with other people. But the entire action of making friends is really just kind of hard nowadays, because for me personally, I work a night shift where I do up to 50 odd hours at night. I do up to like 40. I do 45 hours to 50 a night, and it does get tough to where you don't know when you get a chance to really make friends. You can have a good relationship with your acquaintances at work. You can have such a good relationship with people who work next to you or work behind you. I work with a small team at work amongst a bigger team, and I'm lucky enough that I've been bouncing around work to where I do simply talk to people who are relevant with my work, and to make that conversation a little bit more reasonable, it's fun. Coworkers make it fun, they make it great. But to say that they're friends in terms of them and I hanging out on a regular basis, sorry, I'm getting notifications that are relevant to my own work. See, like nowadays, like I'm in a current situation to where most of my time is work related, and by the time I decompress from work, I do have my circle of friends, and I do accept that even though I'm left on red, I definitely respect that being left on red doesn't mean that they don't think about me. I'm sure I have to give them the benefit of the doubt that they do just read the message, but at the time of message is inconvenient to answer. And then you get busy, then you forget to answer, and then I can't imagine how the other person would feel if they feel like they're a bad friend. Because, well, I'm I'm moving far from the question. So do I make friends regularly? No. If I make a lot of good acquaintances. So if I just have to make the constant effort saying, "Hey, do you want to have food after work?" But even then, like that's hard too because with the work friends that I make, there's not enough time to make them proper friends because, I mean, they are friends, but what I mean is, I have friends at work, and then I have a small few of my work friends that I see outside of work to be actual friends. Because to have actual friends, you kind of schedule things together and you make time for each other. And in my current work environment, the majority of my friends get off work. The majority of the friends that I know get off work at like 5 or 4, and that's around the time that I'm getting ready to go to work and stuff like that. So, if anything else, the most I'm available to them for is like a dinner or something like that. And during the day when they're at work, I'm sleeping. So it's really hard for my current situation. You spend a lot of you spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. I I would say I would distinctly agree, just because I'm in a situation where I'm at work and a lot of the times I spend my free time exploring random topics. Like if I'm hearing a podcast, I would look up certain bits about a podcast. Like recently, a podcast brought up a subject of HMB supplements, and the HMB supplement is essentially, it's kind of like a it's I don't know if it's a protein, but it's a chemical that it's essentially used for, it's an amino acid that's used as a bodybuilding supplement to help improve muscle strength by reducing protein breakdown. So I ended up learning that in a fun way. So that I heard about that from watching a YouTube video that happened to come up with Tony Horton, the P90X guy. And preface, it works. The program works. It's just a matter of adjusting your dieting to make sure the gains come out, and you have to trust the process. But that's besides the point. Um, seeing a video about Tony Horton expressing HMB supplements led me to researching about Mind Pump, which is a fitness podcast with 3 retired trainers, I believe, except one person. I believe Adam trains one person consistently, but everybody else, Sal and Justin, do their own thing, but within the company of Mind Pump. So I'm excited to make the chance to go and get one of their products because their product seems to be very good. The next question is, seeing other people cry easily makes you feel like you want to cry too. I I personally don't think so, just because in my experience, seeing other I because I understand that I'm pretty empathetic. I'm empathetic to where I do my best to love onto others, and I do my best to be accommodating. Because when I'm at work, it kind of pertains to the first question. I am not very good with my emotions because I grew up in an environment to where my parents were mostly about work when we were home, and so it becomes a situation to where I want to uh, empathize with them. I want a conversation with like some people, but my mom and dad were mostly about work. But then when only my dad kind of like hung around, so he would listen and he would do his best to just accommodate for my emotions. Like if I was crying a lot, he would make me calm down by just, hey, just take a breath, get some water, and reprocess the emotion, and that was great for me. And so I don't feel the need to cry with other people because I'm in a situation where if someone's crying, I want I feel the need to help them go through the emotion. Like they're more than welcome. Like I believe if they need to cry it out, they should cry it out. But I don't feel the need to cry with them because the way my brain works is like I want to get into a situation where I want an answer to the problem because I feel like it's proper to cry about a situation if you don't have a solution to it. if there's nothing you can change about it, that's where grief comes in. But if someone's crying about something and you can do an actionable thing to fix it, then I want to look for answers. I want to let the person process the answer, process the problem, so we can then look for the answer together. I only have ever cried when I had realizations to where I can't fix relationships anymore. Um, like there are certain boats in my life to where I cried about and had to accept very harshly that, oh, this relationship cannot go back to the way it was, or this relationship cannot be what I wish and hope that it could have been. It could have been a situation where we could have been happier, we could have been better, but that's just now not how it turned out. So I cried because we can never come back to a recoverable place. Much like how it's funny because there's a lot of people in the community to where there's a crying joke about Markiplier, but when he did his 8 million subscriber video, he cried because he made a realization that, oh, these many people who made an appreciation video with me, to me, like I cannot connect personally to those many people, because the reality is like there are some people that have attributed to you success, and then there's other people who are inspired by you. But to want to get personal and saying thank you, get a personal like connection with people, say thank you, it's almost impossible now. And sure, there'd be times to where you are able to like meet them at a convention, or content creators can go to VidCon or Comic Con and like interact with their fans. That's the best you can do. But that's such a fractional amount of people that you get to like interact with. And for some, that's the best they can do, and then they relish in it. Other times, it's better to appreciate by continuing your work and making things to do things too. So, giving people an answer through content, giving people an answer through action is what some of them have decided to do, which is kind of funny because during PAX West, I was expecting some content creators to be out there because that's one of the few ways they can meet their fans, the way that they can like cry with them, be happy with them. But why do that for a short amount of time when you can make content that'll give them so much more? Some people communicate personally through like gifts and services. So it really just depends. Like crying to make someone making you cry, someone crying that seeing other people crying that makes you feel like you want to cry too is really just a conversation of like your love languages, how your love languages are kind of like similar. So some empaths would, I feel like, cry along with others. I feel tear jerked. I feel hard to breathe when I catch my breath when some things are like that. I just need a moment to really gather myself to be a person to act. I'm so used to acting and just acting onto things. So yeah, I kind of disagree with that. Sorry, tangent. You often make a backup plans for a backup plan. I do, and that's just strictly because how my parents rose me up with. Just because we were we were always in a position. My mom always put us in a position to where we had to work to get what we want, and to get what we want, we need a plan. And my dad always wanted us to make sure we had covered every nook and cranny. If we went to So no, not if. When we did go to Disney World with Epcot and everything, my mom and dad were very fortunate to have taken us there. For what it's worth, I enjoyed my time there, and I was able to experience it as I would. But they had to make plans on their backup plans. They had to figure out how food was going to work. They were going to have to settle with and figure out how rides were going to work. And so they had to make a backup plan about, okay, if we stay at this hotel, this is what we're going to do for everything else. And the backup plan, if that hotel doesn't work, we'll adjust. So I think we stayed at a very fancy, like palm trees kind of a thing. But my dad was more than ready to go to a Motel 6 if we had to, because that's what we had to do to get the plan getting through. I remember my parents, it was to manage the cost of breakfast and stuff like that. I remember my mom would just bring just enough instant ramens to cook up in a uh, bowl for each of us, and a kettle, like a sunbeam. What was it? Sunbeam uh, kettle, electric kettle. Yeah, I'll get the electric kettles from Sunbeam, and I just, oh, I guess they changed their product now. But I guess the closest looking item is a Brentwood Electric. But yeah, we would crank that up and just accommodate for food by making ramen for each of us like that. It wasn't the best nutrition, but we were sustained just so that we can go there. So that was great. I mean, having the vacation to go to Disneyland was pretty good, and for what it was worth, they had enough plans to get us through that experience, and I really appreciate that. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. I agree. And I had to do that myself just because there was a lot of situations to where that was an example set by my mom and my dad. There'd be a lot of stressful situations, and I would admit I wasn't the best child because I was as a child that was exploring their emotions and exploring the right and wrong way to react to situations. I may not have been a great kid to react, but I was processing the right and wrong way to do it. And I can always be appreciative that my parents tend to stay calm under pressure, even, at least in public. Um, at home, my dad would be more patient because my mom wasn't very agreeable at home. It's the whole highway or um, me or the highway kind of situation, and so my dad showed me a lot more temperance under pressure at home, but in public, I would like at least I would safely say my mom was had a lot of composure when it was work related, and when she was at work, she was relatively like patient, and that comes to me too because I experienced a lot of pressure at work. There's a lot of pressure to where there's productivity measured, there's language measured because there's a guy. Um, let's call him Spellblamba. No. That's random name. Quick name. Quick name. Quick name. Let's go with Tyrone. The guy Tyrone has a very distinctly Boater accent, and it's not good. It's not great to where he has such a Boater accent, and his concept of grammar and his language at work is borderline sexual harassment to some, and a lot of other people give him. They spoil him by not getting him in trouble sometimes, but that does get in trouble with the rest of the males, to where guys don't give him much slack. So I'm under a lot of pressure to where I don't want to interact with them, but I will if I have to. And uh, I have to stay calm, but I do have to make it a point to him every time that, hey, can you just not be like this? You're very disrespectful. But even then, like other girls are just being too nice to him, and so that's just the current situation. Uh, I wish I was more calm than I was, but yeah, thanks, mom and dad. I'm pretty calm under pressure. At social events, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. I mean, yes. Yes, because I'm in a situation to where, like, just like Pax, I rarely introduce myself mostly because I don't I was never, for as much as I like and hate my uh growing up situation. Um, that kind of muscle is something that you would introduce when you were younger because you would always, if you were raised in a situation, you sometimes are raised in a situation where you play team sports very often, to where you're forced to interact with people. And the only time I ever interacted with people were either in school or at conventions or like other things. But I would interact with new people and introduce myself because my friend was there, and I would be a part of the conversation because my friend was there. Normally, I mean, there was a time at so the Saturday packs, I definitely went by myself, and I definitely interacted with a few people and made the line waiting a little bit uh okay. I made the line bearable, but I didn't really go deep into it, much like my friend Justin, because I engaged in the conversation longer because I knew somebody there, and I was able to bounce off conversations from him to the new person. So I do introduce myself as often as kind of often as I like, but I'm more inclined to introduce myself if I'm with people. But otherwise, I just kind of like stick with my friends, stick with my tribe, because I end up being raised like that. I feel like raising my own kid, I would have him be introduced to a lot of things, a lot of team building things. If there was a basketball thing, let him play with it. Baseball, let him do it. Band, let him try it. Um, being having a kid being placed into multiple situations of a group activity will build on the skill to talk to other people. And for as much as I liked my growing up, I did track, I did swimming, but a lot of that was just mostly you racing against your own time. You weren't working with another team. You worked with a team to build points to win the meet, but you didn't build points together. It isn't like basketball. The basketball is the sport team where you have to like the part of the game requires you to pass the ball to somebody else so that and like making that an option. But when you do track and field or swim, it's you against the person in the next lane with you. So that's more of an isolated team sport. Much like where tennis, if you play tennis, it is practically an isolated team sport, unless you do doubles. And so I'm I want to work on that skill. I want to work on a skill to where I can actually just speak with people and just talk with them on a regular basis. And I think we'll end this episode right now. We'll end it right here for now. And when we come back, we'll continue on to these set of quizzes, and then we'll find out my personality. So tune back in next week, and we'll talk more about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you liked it, uh, please make sure to follow and subscribe. I have social media. If you want to follow it, it's been on the screen. Thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, my name is Tyler. I'm your friend. And I'll see you next time. Bye.